Recording secret?
Recording secretary, that's Celia. Secretary, yeah.
That person's supposed to be here. Okay.
Yes, she's legitimate. Yes, that's my staff. Celia's taking notes for us today. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hey, welcome everybody. We are live streaming on the internet, and we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. And next up on our agenda here, we will do the flag salute. So please stand where you may be. I'll go ahead and lead the pledge today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up is the public forum. We'll go to our staff here. Is there any public comment that was submitted for this subcommittee meeting?
Yes, Mayor, we do have, and council member and our board members, we do have some public comment. It is all related to the first item. So I will read it during at that item discussion.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Renee. Okay, next up is the approval of agenda.
So I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, everything looks good. Look to our school district colleagues if there's any requests. If not, I'll second that, and the agenda has now been approved. And we'll go right into discussion items with number one, the Russell Fields discussion. I'll look to Renee. Renee, did you want to lead off here? No pun intended.
Yeah, yes, Mayor, council member, and honorable board members. Mike's going to go ahead and share the presentation with you. Share screen. So our first meeting today is the Russell Fields discussion. Go ahead and next slide. All right, so just a little bit of background. The city and the school district entered a use agreement, or a JUA, in 1996-97 for Bobby Sox Fields at Russell Middle School, which is an MUSD property. In 2010, the joint use agreement was updated, and that captured the actual improvements made to the property. It also outlined the maintenance, the shared use, timing, and the operation roles and obligations of both the district and the city. That current agreement goes through December 31st of 2036. Next slide. As part of the school district bond, the replacement of athletic fields was identified as a project, which included the Russell Middle School fields. The school district has requested an amendment to the Russell Middle School Bobby Sox Fields joint use agreement. And after those renovations, a new joint use agreement for amenities at the Russell Middle School fields would be negotiated separately as part of a new agreement, not an amendment to the current one. So I'm going to turn this over to Cheryl.
All right, thank you. With our 2018 bond, we inquired with both of our staffs as well as our parent and students about the needs of the facilities. And both Rancho and Russell expressed a need for a new field. And in particular at Russell, with the 2012 bond and with the San Jose City College joint use agreement and that new building, which took away a large area of land from Russell that they used. At that time, Russell was promised that they would have a new track and field. And so now with 2018, we have the input of the staff, students, the PTA, and also the prior administration promising that we would have a new field to replace what San Jose City College took away. So what you see here is the diagram of the new track and field, which incorporates a soccer field, and it has a full length softball field as well as a practice field. Next slide. Our Wrestle Fields renovation project timeline is there for you to see. It's currently in the Division of State Architecture. We expect that we will have final approval for both Russell and Rancho within the next month or so. And we expect to have it completed early December or early 2021, and definitely by summertime, if not by springtime, depending on the weather. Next slide, please. It just lists here what our outreach as well as the city outreach has been. Again, from the school side, we're reached out to all of our parents as well as our students and staff members and our PTAs at both schools.
Thanks, Cheryl. For the city staff, we met with the PAL board representatives. That's a group of all the PAL individual sport leaders, and we did that in January and in April. We also met with the PAL North Valley softball leadership. They joined PAL recently. We did that in April as well as in June, and then have been corresponding mainly via email with that leadership a little over the summer. On public comments on August 18th at our city council meeting related to Russell Fields, the PAL North Valley softball group did submit comments that identified some of their top important amenities. And those were a need for multiple fields at one site, snack shack, that's critical to supporting their fundraising efforts, which helps fund their program, and that they would have adequate parking. Next slide. So we're bringing this to the subcommittee today. We want to talk about interim and long-term plans. So an interim plan would be that while Russell Fields are under construction, use of other fields and snack shacks in Milpitas temporarily for their 2021 season would need to occur. Those potential options would be the softball field at Cardozo Park, the softball field at Gill Park, and potentially the softball field at Milpitas High School. And also using the Dixon Landing fields, which would take some conversion to multi-sport fields. They're currently baseball, and we would convert those to multi-sport to accommodate both softball and baseball. Next slide. And looking at long-term options, also for discussion would be to allow the use of the softball fields at Russell and Milpitas High School as part of a new JUA, creating field use within a walking distance of each other. Perhaps look at other school site green space in that area, other elementary schools where I might be able to place fields. Develop Dixon Landing Park, like we mentioned before, for multi-use fields, along with a parking permit program to accommodate the adequate parking that would be needed to have a permanent home or a consistent allocation of fields to softball programs at that site. Also identify other open space areas for a new complex under recommendations of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We're updating our master plan. It's about 10 years old. It's approximately a year-long effort. We're in phase 2 of our community input, where people are talking about what they would like to see in their parks, those amenities, fields, programs, etc. Next slide. So next steps for the school district and the city to work jointly on a community meeting to go back out and engage the community about possible short-term and long-term solutions. Draft a new JUA for Russell Middle School fields, with our key discussion points for that agreement being the use of timing and fields that would be shared, the operation and maintenance roles and costs, and then the snack shack and restroom facilities that would be at that site. We would bring those forward to City Council for consideration in fall of 2020. And then also review the Parks and Recreation Master Plan updates and that feedback from our community on the park amenities and fields like I talked about in the last slide. And that really would help to inform future planning for sport fields and city parks for our City Council. And next slide. Next slide, or is that it? I think that's it. So then now it's we're going to turn it over to our city council members and our school board members. And staff is here to support the discussion. Mayor, I do have some public comment, so we can take that.
Yes, please. Let's go ahead and go with the public comment.
Okay. Is there a time limit?
How many public comments do we have, if I may?
Yeah, there's 11.
Okay. Let's do 2 minutes, please.
Okay. All right. Okay, the first comment is from Greg Flores, San Marcos Drive. Girls deserve equal opportunities. They must be given equal chances to dream big and live their dreams. Please support them, provide them with dream fields. Most important, their future. Thank you. Next comment is from Margaret Garcia, Cortese Circle, San Jose. Although I'm not a Milpitas resident, much of my life has taken place within the borders of the city of Milpitas that is now extended to my children. My daughter Bella started playing softball for the very first time with Milpitas North Valley Bobby Sox in the spring of 2016. She was 10 years old. That experience lit a fire in her, a love of softball that burns brightly now as a pitcher and first base player for Milpitas Monsters 18U travel softball. The Monsters home field is Thomas Russell Middle School and is not just the 18U team that uses the fields. Girls from the age of 8 to 18 use these fields to hone their skills, stay active, and get ready for competition. Additionally, Milpitas North Valley softball would have used the fields extensively during the spring and summer if not for COVID-19. All the Monsters team practiced there. We've had our friendly tournaments there. It is home. In a time when we should be increasing our support and promotion of girls and women's athletics, this is definitely not the time to take our girls' fields away. It is more important than ever to reserve a space for our girls in this world. Our girls cannot use baseball fields. The distance between bases and home plate to pitcher's mound is too far. Please reconsider any plans to remove the softball fields at Thomas Russell Middle School. They're irreplaceable. Next comment is Jasmine Edwards, North Park, Victoria. Hello, I'm currently a junior at West Valley playing softball there. I'm also MHS alumni and an assistant coach to Milpitas Monsters. I also help our local rec league run player clinics and umpire clinics. The umpires are made up of all female staff, mostly college and high school players. When I heard that the Roger Yee fields were going away, I thought, how could this happen? I have very fond memories of all the great experience that I have had playing at those fields. This is where I found my passion for the game. I made so many memories and enjoy helping the girls that are coming into the league. I've learned the importance of volunteering and how it impacts my community. We've hosted tournaments there and helped the annual softball toy drive there. When I played at Wrestle, we had 6 fields and they built the new college extension. Now I'm hearing we won't have any. I'm hoping that there is a plan for new fields because there are a lot of families that may be affected. Milpitas Pal softball and the girls deserve it. Thank you. Next comment is from Tina Ortiz, Dixon Landing Road. As the current president of Milpitas North Valley Bobby's softball, I have concerns with transitioning to Dixon Landing Park. Although Dixon looks to be an adequate transition from the Thomas Russell Middle School, there is obvious issues that will affect our program. One, parking lot. The lot is big but serves as layover parking for apartments and condos, and oftentimes has very few spots open to park. Cricket strip, the strip between the 2 fields and is often filled with grown men playing cricket, and their playing field always impedes on the other 2 fields, not acceptable for youth to practice with them playing. If these issues cannot be corrected, I do not see how PAL softball could run an effective youth girls sports program out of this park. The only other place outside of Dixon Landing that I could work would be Sinnott Elementary, lower softball field with lights. This would have to be a complete overhaul. It would combat the issues we face with parking. I've recently submitted essential items for a new softball home to city council members, and I've also posted those desires in the city council public forum. I know it will be hard to find a perfect location for softball, but I know that if we work together, we can make this happen for our young ladies. Thank you for your commitment to our youth. Tina Ortiz, President, Milpitas North Valley Softball. Next comment is just says Milpitas Pal Softball at Escuela Parkway. Good evening, subcommittee members. The Milpitas North Valley Pal Softball Board came up with a list of essential requirements for new softball complex. 1, 5 regulation fields with bleacher seating that can accommodate a 175 to 225 foot fence line in one location to be able to accommodate each division in our organization, i.e. minis, 8U, 10U, 12U high school prep. 2, a snack shack that is equivalent to what we have now, roughly 20 by 65 feet. 3, handicap accessible bathrooms that have plenty of stalls for girls to use without waiting. 4, equivalent storage spaces to store team, field equipment, and tractor, i.e. 2 to 5, 15 by 25 foot sheds. 5, parking lot feasible for 40 to 60 families to attend games/events at one time. 6, lights at fields to be able to host tournaments and later practice times. 7, batting cages/pitching tunnels so we don't have to travel to South San Jose to rent their facilities. Thank you for your commitment to our youth, Milpitas North Valley Pal Softball. Next comment is Joshua Subsia, Horcajo Street, Milpitas. Hey, just to let you guys know that I'm just a volunteer at those fields. Also, I've been volunteering with all the sports at MHS for 16 years now. Next comment, Faith Rowe, Deal Street. Hello, I coach baseball for Milpitas North Little League. I'm wondering how this will affect us as we practice at Dixon, and it seems to always short on practice fields. Next comment, Melissa Alvarez, Treewood Lane in Milpitas. Hi, my name is Melissa. I am a former member of the board that ran North Valley Milpitas Bobby Sox. I'm saddened to hear that the city is thinking of moving softball organization around to Dixon Landing. The fields at Wrestle are tremendously useful for our softball games. They're centrally located for the girls who are demographically challenged. Over the years, a few of our girls would walk. Having all the teams at the same fields made the girls, no matter what ages, become family. Constantly seeing each other every week at those fields is what my girls, all 3 of them, look forward to every week. It's almost like a tradition to hold opening ceremonies there and have the snack shack so conveniently located, not to mention the parking that is available to the area. At Dixon, we will encroach on the night or good, which will most likely end up in turmoil. I remember when we went through the storage box and found the blueprints for the fields from years ago, and they indicated Bobby Sox's name on one of them. That was so special to see the city back then taking softball so seriously, as it really embodies an American tradition for the girls in our community. I hope the council will consider keeping the softball fields at Russell permanently. Next comment, Asia Alvarez, Treewood Lane. My name is Asia Alvarez. I've just been informed that you'll be taking away our Russell softball fields. I would just like to let you know that I've been playing softball there since I was 5 years old. Now, that is now 9 years that I've been going to those fields and playing softball. I cannot count on my fingers or my toes how many wonderful memories I have playing at those fields, or even going over there just to hang out with my friends. Another is how many friends I have made from going to those fields. Now I ask from my heart that you reconsider this idea of yours. You will not only be breaking my heart, but so many others. The fields have something very close to my heart, not just because I learned how to play softball there, but I gained a second family from the field, so please do not take down those fields. Next comment, Isabella Barrera. I would like those fields to be renewed because I've been playing there since I was 6 years old. These fields have so many memories written all over them. They taught me very important life lessons, such as perseverance, sportsmanship, and leadership. The coaches encouraged me to prioritize academics. I fostered many friendships on those fields. These fields are also part of the PE program for Thomas Russell Middle School. I go there. We play kickball, soccer, and other sports on those fields. Thank you for your time. Clicking difficulty, 1 second. All right, Daniel DeRosa. Sunrise Way, Milpitas. I have a daughter that is 7 years old and a son that is 4 years old. I coach both their teams. For my son, I know he has Milpitas Sports Complex fields to grow up on. Our daughters need the same equal opportunity. Therefore, we need a complex fields for our daughters to be influenced and encouraged by. Softball cannot be played on baseball fields. If we don't have softball fields, how will my daughter get to have the same experience my son will? And that's the end of public comment.
Thank you so much, Renee. I appreciate extra effort with public comments during this challenging period of this pandemic. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the folks in our community that submitted comment. We are Milpitas, and I believe that we can all agree that we care so deeply about our young ladies, our youth in our community, and we are going to make a decision at the end of the day on what to do over at that site. And so I'm just hoping we can all come up with solutions. If not today, then at least we can take a step forward after the meeting, knowing that we can be hand in hand with finding a resolution that will really include the young ladies. At the same time, I do want to state my support for our school bond. We worked really hard to pass the school bond as a community, and I want to make sure that our projects going forward with our school district are on time. These are taxpayer dollars, and so I do want to put that in the back of everybody's mind as we move forward. I know I'm paying for the school bond, so I definitely want to see it executed at the highest level. So as for my thoughts on what to do over there, I think at the end of the day, I'm just looking for an equal opportunity for our youth. I know, looking at our Zoom meeting, that everybody cares about the young ladies totally and completely and wholeheartedly. And so I actually have been thinking about this for a while, and I don't have the answer. There's so much, I think, more that goes into it in terms of having a location with the proper facilities. I know much of this is driven by finances and funding, I should say. And I know the school district is in a unique position with a particular funding. And so I'm not sure what type of options we can explore, but maybe we can check in with the school district here to hear more about what possibilities there may be. And I haven't really spoken with folks in the community about this topic. I know I've spoken to a lot of folks here on the call individually about life and city happenings, but I'm glad we're here today to kind of get get started on this work that we have for this particular community. And so maybe I can go to either our, let's go to the school board president, Han. Is there, I'm gonna go to you, just if you could lead us.
No, I think I'll pass this.
Or Cheryl.
Cheryl, because she has more information on this matter, and I don't want to take it away from her. Superintendent.
Thanks. As I listen to the public comments, I hear both the connection of from when people were children and the tremendous impact that the joy of playing softball had on them, and wanting to have that same experience for their own daughters. And that is something that in our culture we support, is we want families to continue to have those traditions while making connections with others and strengthening our community in doing so. I also heard some misperceptions. I heard one comment that there was going to be a baseball field and no softball fields. And actually, we will not have a baseball field. We will have a softball field, regulation size, as well as a practice softball field. In addition, we will have a track and field, which we don't have currently. And currently, when our track team needs to use the track, they have to go across the street to Milpitas High School, and they are limited in the times that they can go and do their practices. Additionally, our PE department, again, because they have lost the land where they used to hold their PE classes to the community college, they are looking forward to having that track so that they can use it for the running that they do on a somewhat regular basis, as well as the many other lessons that they do during PE. Then there's also the soccer field, which will be a part of that track field, and that taps into also our students who have who are on the soccer teams that we have as our interscholastic competitions. And so there's a lot of desires and needs that we want everybody to be able to accomplish. And I agree that we'll be able to do that through community collaboration with the city. And I think that there are ways that we could continue with having Bobby Sox using the new softball field. And I think that the city's investigation of looking at how they might be able to build a sports complex at Dixon Landing Park or one of the other parks is something that potentially could have an even greater impact on the city than the field does currently at Russell. I know that Russell fields, there's 3 right now, softball fields, and I know that they are not regularly fully used during the softball season for community softball leagues. So the demand that used to be there is not currently there. And perhaps if the city were looking at building a new complex, that might increase the demand that we certainly hear the proponents of softball and all of the wonderful aspects that it has on a young person's life as they develop and build a sense of community.
Thanks, Cheryl. Is there a way we can go back to the PowerPoint with the map of the proposed track?
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
And while Mike's loading that, thank you, Mike. I think now is the time. I just want to spend some time to brainstorm, kind of, and just trying to figure out. I know it's hard to come by space here in town, and I think from the city's perspective, we can only do so much, and I have a sense that these fields are somewhat sacred, and it's a gathering space for our community with memories, and not just like bases and infields and fences and things. And we have currently 3 softball fields that are there today. And so just looking at the new project here, which I think looks great. I mean, it's new. So there's 2 fields there that are going to be in place. They're both, I think, equipped for softball. And to be back on par with what's now 3, is there any way we can even explore? I know this costs money for architects to draw, but is there any way we can explore keeping a 3rd field on the site? Is that worth asking, Cheryl?
I don't know where we would put the third field.
Could it be within the soccer field?
I don't know, because I'm not a sports person.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
sure.
mean, over at the high school, football field's also the soccer field.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering if it's even possible to put a third field on the same
Uh,
site.
So in other words, where we see the soccer field right now, if that could also serve as a softball field?
Yes. If that's worth asking the project manager or whomever. And I just think if it's even possible or worth exploring, I think that would keep 3 fields there that softball players could use, and bring more value to the area. So that's my suggestion for today. I do want to go around the leaders here, and we can get more leadership. So I want to go to Councilmember Montano and then Vice President Norwood after. Councilmember Montano, did you want to?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So at our last meeting, the city council, we all expressed a desire or a commitment to find a solution so that the girls can have a place to stay. And this is where this committee will brainstorm to find out different ways. But I want to let the families out there that are listening, I want to let them know that the city council is committed, as they stated, to find you a place. It may not be this particular site because that's already been allocated, but we will accommodate you in some, somehow, some way. And that's where the city leaders will brainstorm, come up with ideas, and we'll try to find a solution to make this happen. Because we do have you have our commitment to, as stated at our last city council meeting, to find a place or to accommodate you somehow, some way for the girls. Because we all know that sports are really important for girls. It's builds character, it builds self-esteem. It has so many benefits that it creates a multiplier effect or domino effect with their children and then their children's children. So it's a really positive thing overall. So we're there for you. I do like the mayor's idea. I don't know if the architect can somehow make that soccer field a multi-use field. I'm not sure. We'll have to go back to the drawing board. Or, as you stated, find solutions at Dixon Park. I'm not sure that some of the issues that I heard were the parking. I think the city was thinking about putting meters there to make more parking space. Perhaps just making it an all baseball field. So I'm not sure. We'll have to keep thinking out of the box. Then I heard somebody say, I think the president of the softball league, that perhaps Wrestle Middle School, because there are a lot of fields out there. And then I heard our superintendent say that that's another area where they want to build a track field. So, but I don't know if your plans have already been created or if it's still in the initial infant stage. I know I know you're not going to do 2 projects at the same time because it's so that maybe perhaps the planning can go to the Wrestle fields as the second phase. I'm assuming, not sure, but anyhow, the bottom line is we're going to do something, and we're here to help you, the girls, keep the fields. It's really important, and this is where the school and the city come together and brainstorm and try to come up with some solutions. So I'm confident we will. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Councilor Montano. And right before we go to Vice President Norwood here, maybe another thing I want to suggest, just echoing or following up Councilor Montano, Cheryl, Superintendent Jordan, on this slide, kind of at the bottom area of the map, is it possible to put a softball field there as well? right alongside the property line of the single family homes. You know, is there room there for a third field? You know, our softball program and our families, they're Milpitas Unified students, and a lot of the families did vote for the school bond. And you know, in this meeting, I am asking if we can make a change in this proposed renovation project. Can we ask the architect to see if there's a room to put one more diamond at the bottom of this map, right behind the backyard fence of those homes, if there's enough space? Is that something that I can ask of this school district today to explore that?
First, let me share with you that our plans are already at the state for DSA approval, and we expect to hear approval back by October. And there's always possibility. So we will talk with our architect about the potential of adding a softball field on top of the soccer field. So it's a multi-use field. That'd be a really interesting idea. I'm not sure that there's enough room in that other area for a third softball field. It's kind of a sloping area and a walking path along where those houses are. It connects people who live along that street that you see to the east. It connects the walking path connects from there to the Escuela Parkway. And I just don't recall it being large enough to put another softball field in, but we could look. And of course, that would probably increase the cost. However, if the city was looking to put a softball field there in conjunction with us, that could be something that would make it a possibility if the space is there.
Okay, great, thanks.
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay, yes.
Along those lines, Cheryl, I know that the creek, you know, where you have the, on the north, let's see, it's on the eastern side, you have some containers there. Is there any way, and then you have the creek that goes along there. Is there any way that you can make another field there? Move those containers out of there, out of that way, because there seems to be a lot of space there, but I don't know if it's enough for another baseball field, and then maybe move this field down south more or west more, and then making room for another one where the containers are. If maybe that might be a possibility. Or if not that, just looking at Rancho Middle School and starting fresh, or starting a whole new plan there with that will include 3 fields for those teams. And then that would have the snack shack and the whole bit. Maybe it's just a matter of just concentrating and moving it all there, because there is plenty of land there, and then the city can work with the school to build up the softball fields.
That's an idea.
It seems that that's probably because I know it's costly. I mean, I've been on the school board previously, and once you got those plans, and especially if it's already gone to Sacramento, it's kind of hard to change unless you know, the school district wants to make those changes. But like I said, up in the corner up there with those, there's room there. However, I don't know if it's enough room for another softball field. But it seems to me that probably the most effective, efficient way, or cost effective, would probably be at the Rancho Middle School. There's a lot of fields there, a lot of open space and plenty of parking. And that was mentioned at one of the speakers earlier. And then that way you can also include, you can prepare or put in for the snack shack and all the other, I think they also said storage space, parking lots, lights and field, batting cages. And the city, I'm confident that, because we want to make sure that the girls have a place, and I'm confident that we would find a way to make that happen. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the follow-up, Councilmember Montano. And I think at the end of the day, well, let me disregard that. I think what I'm trying to look to do is, minimize the effort that needs to be done to get back on par with what we have today, and the fiscal impact. I think, the less construction we can do, the better it is. And so, we can explore all the options, but I just want to be realistic and put that 2 cents in. But let's go around the table now. We're still going around the table. Vice President Norwood, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Tran. There were a number of things that I heard in the conversation that provided me both optimism, reality, and possibility. The reality is that we are going to continue with the joint use agreement with the city. And the question is, how is that joint use agreement going to look? Is it going to expand beyond this location? Is it going to explore other locations? Is it going to refer to the Parks and Recs strategic plan in terms of understanding where the needs are based on usage as a part of the planning? We've received emails, we received public comments at the school board. You guys have received public comments. You also have comments at this meeting as well. And there are a couple of pieces of information that I'm still trying to sort through as I consider all the ideas and the things that were said. I heard 2 pieces of information that referred to the fact that we are looking for a softball field, and so besides what already existed or previously existed, there was a request for other things to be included into the softball field, or even at the existing softball field complex or the softball field location. There was an interest or a willingness to explore other facilities that could be utilized for softball field locations. I would probably, I'm not quite sure what the price might be, but I would probably say a change to architectural design and moving forward could potentially be comparable to looking at some of our existing locations that are just fields, and we decide to convert them into softball locations. It may not have all of the amenities that are required, but there are those possibilities. I appreciated Councilmember Montano's comment about the Rancho locations. It also inspired me to think about, there is the location right next to Weller Elementary School. There's that big field there that has not been utilized in any capacity, right next to the CDC, right next to Sunny Hills Park, where that is also open land, where it's going to remain open land in terms of some sort of utilization. The one thing that continues to resonate with me is that I know that Milpitas is a community that, with the culture of with the Milpitas Unified School District, that looks at our partners, our community partners in the sports programs that they offer as partners in terms of providing a high quality education in the city of Milpitas. So where my thoughts are is understanding, what is the actual utilization of the field. And I believe that Superintendent Jordan referred to how it's actually been used most recently. I believe that also the idea, there were previous discussions with groups earlier in the beginning of the year, the January timeframe, with the allocation before we moved forward with these designs. And there wasn't, or maybe we didn't reach out to enough stakeholders at that time to get the feedback that we're getting now. So I think this is a moving target, but we are landing on some possibilities in terms of what we have here now, the fact that we do have the high school field across the street from the program, and getting an understanding, because I also heard a number of different dynamics. I heard there was an 18 and over, I heard North Valley, I heard a couple different names of organizations that all utilize these fields as a part of this process. So I think there's still more work to be done in terms of our full understanding, and where the school district's call to action is that, you know, what would be the cost for potential architectural, what will be the cost for looking at a design change and then possibly an implementation. Also the ability of understanding what the Park and Recreation longer term plan is, because that may also include the utilization of a different facility that the school district may have the property on. So I think there's just still a lot more pieces to this puzzle, and to commit to saying, well, if we add a third field at this location, from what I heard, it still will not meet the needs of what the softball programs are asking for, or will believe will be minimal for them to continue their programming.
Thank you so much, Vice President Norwood. And we're going around the table here, and I want to go to the President, Han Leon, for any comments and suggestions and such.
Yes, the comments I have is, the good news is we do have the availability on different pieces of land, different locations. So right now, I think the best is to discuss further which location makes most sense and cost savings for the both city and school district.
Absolutely, absolutely. I thank you for that. It's so great. I know we've heard from our elected officials here, residents, as President or Vice President Norwood stated, that, you know, this is very, very important VIP part of our community. If I may, our young ladies, I kind of want to add on some comments here. I'm just looking to find the right solution for everybody, and I know that's what we're all trying to do. And one thing I really want to emphasize is minimizing the cost. Rather than go to a new location, we already have our school bond money. I'll say we, if I may, we already have our school bond money coming in here to this site. And all I'm thinking is, if we can fit a third field in there somewhere, and it's softball, which is a slightly less length, respectively. If we could somehow fit a third field in there, I think that would be the most cost-effective way, rather than to go somewhere else. It would minimize the impact on the softball community and the families. It's the same location. If there were to be able to be 3 fields in there, it's the same location. I know some jurisdiction or school in the nation has a track and field and soccer and softball field. I dare say there's some sports venue in the nation that does that. And as one person on the city side, one person on the city council, I want to dedicate myself and commit myself, and I hope my colleagues will commit themselves to cost sharing this third field, hopefully at this location, this current location. And that way we can really keep the spirit of the Roger E. Field and the elected officials of many years past that put in the time and effort, and families. That is my strongest proposal to our challenge today for the softball fields. Very high visibility item. And I know it's going to take some money, but I just think that when our visitors come into our community from all the different cities and throughout the whole Bay Area, and they walk up to our fields, they'll really be proud of our school district. It'll be an opportunity for communities coming in with their young ladies playing softball to see what a wonderful school district we have and brand new facilities. And I just think if we could squeeze in a softball field somewhere throughout this map, which is possible. I think they're either on the actual soccer field area or maybe in the corner. I'm just saying, but you know, we won't have a snack shack. I'm not proposing that we build one, but I know through our city and our community, maybe, you know, we can get a nice trailer. There are large trailers that can serve the same purpose. A storage. I know our city has created storage space for the baseball players over at the sports center. And in the spirit of Title IX, I believe that it's greatly possible for, I believe, our city council to support our young ladies with some storage, just like we did over at the sports center. And so I don't think that we're going to come to an answer this afternoon. We're 1 hour into the meeting, but I look forward to further community engagement and discussions. This is an agenda item that we can't miss. We can't make a mistake on this one. And I know we won't. And I know we're going to find the right answers and the right solution for our special community of young student athletes. And so I do want to go to my colleagues, our elected officials, if there's anything else to contribute. If not, I'd just like to carry this item forward to a future near date as we brainstorm, and I'll be meeting with all the elected officials and city administration leaders and superintendent to figure it out. But
So I just have one last comment.
yes, of course.
If I may. Thank
Of course.
you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. So with the two fields, the two baseball fields that are projected in the plan, I'm assuming that these two fields will be allocated for the girls to use, for the teams to use. Is that correct? To the school district?
Please clarify the context of the girls to use. Are you talking within the joint use agreement?
Yeah, on the ones on the picture right there in the map, the architect has the two fields on there.
So if I may, Superintendent Jordan, I believe everything flows through the utilization of those fields through the joint use agreement. So it may not, those fields may not only be used, but they may be used for other things under that joint use agreement, unless it comes to terms of saying that we want the joint use agreement. Well, you know what? I think it's a great point. Can someone explain a little bit about the detail of the joint use agreement and how it came to be that it's focusing that this particular location does the majority of the softball?
I can speak to it a little bit. So we have the original agreement in 1997. So there was, 1996. So there was a movement in the community to find a permanent location for softball programs to go. So the school and the city put together a joint use agreement where the district provided the land and the city made the improvements. And so it was specifically for the use of softball, the development of those fields. However, there was land out there for PE at that school site. I think there was a little of other PE amenities out there when it was created, but it was primarily for softball. And then shortly after the opening, they did dedicate the fields as the Roger E. Bobby Sox complex. He was one of the leaders in Milpitas that had spirited the effort. So that's how it came about in 96, 97.
Okay.
And then in 2010, it was updated, that joint use agreement, because all of the amenities that were going to be in place and that infrastructure had been completed. So it was an updated agreement. So in earlier slides, we mentioned that after the renovations of the field, it could be considered for a new joint use agreement for the softball fields that would be part of the property after your renovation project.
So that sounds like it answers Councilmember Montano's question about it would be utilized for softball only.
It would not necessarily only, but there would be a joint use agreement between the city and the school on the use of those fields for softball,
Okay.
such as North Valley softball.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
may I continue, or are you done, Chris?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what I know the mayor wants to move on to the next item because we have other items, and he wants to bring it back. So I would like to make a recommendation that the school district find out if the architecture can be done, or re-architecture can be done on that, the way that the blueprints are done. If that could be moved to if a new field can be built, and then the soccer fields moved down, and if there could be more room for the top. If you guys can look into that, if that can be done, and that way when we meet again, you'll have an answer. And then also, if you can look into the possibility of a long-term for the Rancho middle schools. Because I think that the bottom line is the teams want a permanent location. Their permanent location is no longer there. It's going to be gone. And I think for the long term, the permanent location, the ideal place for that, in my opinion, would be the Rancho middle school fields. But in the short term, let's see if those fields, as the mayor wanted, could be to add another softball, what do you call it, a court, or I'm not sure what they're called, a softball diamond there. So anyway, that's my recommendation. If have the school district see if they can make some changes to the blueprints.
We actually have answers to some of those questions, and I have Assistant Superintendent Wendy Zing with us, and I have her specifically for this topic. So I'd like to ask Wendy to share with us what has been done as far as looking at how we could put in more than 1.5 softball fields, and also the timeline for DSA, which I know is coming up pretty quick.
Welcome, Wendy.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. And well, as Cheryl mentioned earlier, this project is now at the DSA for approval. And probably by early next week, we will know if DSA is going to, most likely DSA will approve it because we already finished our architect design. We actually have a contractor on hand already. We have a contract with Block for the construction. So at this point, the total project is over $7 million. I mean, for both sides though, we're going to build a track and field at Rancho and also at Wrestle. So I mean, to split probably is a $3.5 million project. I'm not so sure at this time. I mean, every time if we have to go back to revise our design, that will take additional time review at the DSA. We have to resubmit the plan. And in other words, it also costs money because it will delay the construction, and with the escalation cost and everything, then this project will be getting very, very expensive. And at the staff meeting, we had a staff meeting including Brian Shreve, our MOT director, Travis Kirk, our bond consultant, and also together with your city staff, Renee and Ashwani the other day. We look at the diagram together. So honestly, we don't know. Right now, it's very difficult unless we request a formal architectural review of the field to decide if it's possible to build another softball field. Because right now, the field we have after the construction will have a regulation field for softball, and we'll have a practice field. That's the two big ones on the northwest and the southwest. That's about it. And so that's
Thank you.
all we have right now.
Thank you.
But
And
they're
I think we might
really-
begin. Can I ask a follow-up question for Wendy? Now, I think we're getting somewhere now. So let's take a look at Rancho now. It's the same project in terms of a track and a couple of fields. It's different. What's going on at Rancho? Are there going to be any new fields for softball or baseball?
Mayor Tran,
Yes.
is it okay for me to propose for us at the district to go through thorough investigation of which site would be the best fit for this with the cost savings? We will need to work with the architecture, the whole team, with our staff. And once we finalize which site would be the one to use, we will bring the proposal back to you all.
I think that'd be fantastic, President Lee.
Superintendent and Wendy, you're on it.
Yeah. And so that'd be great. And, along with kind of moving this item forward to really provide time for that to happen. And with the work at the school district, I'm so thankful for that. And I'm happy with not trying to brainstorm too hard here on the Friday afternoon. I think there's proper or a bit more effective ways to brainstorm than in a public meeting. And so absolutely, thank you, President Lee and Vice President Norwood. I'm happy with that, and I think we all have the same goal, 100%, which is for our community to have opportunities and equal opportunities, and we're all tied into this community in unique ways. Everybody I'm looking at, and so I'm feeling pretty good about this agenda item today, and I know we got the right people to move it forward here at this point in time. And so I want to thank everybody for the input. And speaking of input, let's go to the public comment. I believe we have new public comment.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We have two more. I'll read these with the same 2-minute limit. So the first of the two is from Barbara Navarro on North Hillview. Softball is an important spot for girls. Updating the existing facility and making it a multi-use field for the school and the existing softball league would be the best choice. There's adequate parking, and if improved, there could be enough softball field, soccer field, and a track. There's enough space because there's a portion of the land that is not presently used. I haven't seen the plans for Wrestle fields, but if the city and school district work together, they could improve the field and temporarily move softball to Dixon or another location until they can return. I am also interested in the numbers associated with Little League, that it still requires 2 facilities. It seems to the city supports boys football and Little League at the sports center. And the last comment is from Urvish Mehta, PO Box in Milpitas, to City School Collaborative Subcommittee. Certainly adding or changing fields does involve cost, and so would be the cost of development of fields. Any development in terms of youth development is important, and adding third field would require adequate designing and promote women development through softball, would encourage to promote Milpitas in different sports fields. As far as cost is concerned, there are measures to consider for the revenue. Sincerely, Urvish Mehta. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renee. Appreciate it. And I want to appreciate and thank all the public and community members for participating and engaging. As you can see, we're all here on your video platform, whether it's in your cell phone or laptop or smart TV. We're here working on solutions. I know that as we go forward, we're gonna get this right, and I'm interested to see what the outcome will be. I'm sure it's nowhere close to what I'm thinking in my head today, but I know that it'll bring happiness to all, and so I'm looking forward to working with our partners at the school district, our MUSD family, to get things taken care of. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people to lead our community with together. So thank you, everybody. And I want to keep this meeting moving because it is Friday. All right, here we go. So next up on the agenda is the role of the subcommittee during COVID-19. Who should I go to? Virtual raised hands would help me out greatly. I don't want to take a guess on who to go to if staff had to provide some information at this point, but I think our subcommittee's been doing a very fine job during COVID-19, and I know I'm back on the committee now. I know I started on it, but the California National Guard took me away, so happy to be here today. So let's go to our Assistant City Manager, Ashwini.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Tran. So we wanted to get some feedback from this subcommittee. We have this subcommittee meeting on a monthly basis. And during COVID, we also had a group of electeds, both from the school board as well as the council, meeting specifically to discuss COVID-19 related topics. We've been doing, collaborating on a lot of different ways to help the community, and also getting out press releases so that we can get out timely information. As we're starting back up with this subcommittee, we just wanted to get some feedback on kind of the role of this subcommittee versus the other group, just keeping in mind that we want to be mindful of any potential Brown Act issues. We do have different representatives from the city side on both. And so maybe some clarification on kind of this subcommittee's role versus the other group.
Councilmember Montano.
Thank you, Mayor Tran. So I have a question. I don't know how these two committees or three committees evolved. This committee here is the one that is ratified by the city council, by the city. This is the official. So then now we have the COVID one subcommittee that we meet every Friday, every other Friday. So my understanding, did I just hear you say that you will be attending these meetings from now on, Mayor?
Oh, I think I'm confused here. I might need some clarity. So there's the weekly subcommittee and there's the monthly or bi-monthly subcommittee.
Well, see, that's my point. It's getting confusing because now there was three. And I thought that the third one was really the second one. And so then it seemed like the first one, this one here, just kind of went away. So I'm glad that we're having this discussion. And everybody's time is important. So, and I'm wondering if the COVID-19 committee can be discussed on this official committee, this ratified committee, so that way it saves time, energy and money. I mean, because when staff comes to these meetings, they have to get paid, and then us when we have our time, and then the school district's time. So I'm just wondering, I'm trying to make things efficient as possible. And I'm just wondering if this is a way to go, or should we continue with the COVID-19 subcommittee meetings every other Friday? So I'm not sure. This is, so it's open for discussion. And I'm telling you, I was confused because now there was a third one.
So, that's absolutely fair question. And before we go to our superintendent, Cheryl Jordan, I think I've been watching the COVID-19 subcommittee, and they've been doing a phenomenal job responding to all the challenges in the community. And a lot of the work now is kind of set in place. I think all the key efforts are there, and we want to value folks' time, period, regardless of whomever. And so I would be supportive of rolling the COVID-19 subcommittee into this general subcommittee. I think that would make great sense and be most efficient with time. So let's go to our superintendent, Cheryl Jordan.
Thanks. The meetings that we had weren't a subcommittee. It was a EOC, a regular weekly EOC. And the EOC was really for the city and school staff. And then we had our electeds with us because it just helped us to move more quickly. And it has a different purpose than a subcommittee does. It's more where you kind of do a check-in. We let you know, we let each other know what's happening. We let each other know where there's overlap of information and where there's overlap of need and where we can work together to fulfill those needs. It's not necessarily something like with a subcommittee where we're going through and taking public comment and trying to grapple with bigger issues. It's really more about, because of the state of emergency, it's meeting the call to act on what needs to be implemented for that.
Right on. Thank you for that.
I would not recommend folding the two into one.
Okay,
They have
copy.
two different purposes.
And thank you so much for that information. I'm being educated right now. And so do you think, Superintendent, that Friday group needs to meet on a weekly basis still, or could it be bi-weekly?
We actually changed it to biweekly.
To bi-weekly. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay,
I guess
great.
I guess I'm still not, can I, may I, Mayor?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I guess I'm still not clear. So is the subcommittee, so it's not a subcommittee, it's a EOC city school staff
Mhm.
committee, but it's not
Not
a
a committee. It's called
So what
it is. It's the Emergency Operations. What does the C stand for, Ashwini?
Emergency Operations Center. So Councilmember Montano, it is not a subcommittee, you're right. This is the subcommittee that the council has officially established. That is more of a working group responding to an emergency. I think for us on the city side, a little bit of dilemma is that we have different members for this subcommittee, as opposed to that one. I think for the school side, it's the same. We were a little bit, now that this subcommittee has started meeting, we were wanted to just be careful about Brown Act issues. And so if we're going to continue with that one, we just wanted to make sure we have some clear separation so that we're not inadvertently talking to three different elected officials on our council about the same topics.
Yeah, I can agree with that because of the Brown Act, even though there might be two council members attending one meeting and then two other ones attending another meeting, but we're all discussing almost the same things. So it's kind of like a daisy chain when you think about it, except instead of individual daisy chain Brown Act violations, it's more like a group daisy chain. If you I'm just trying to work things out here, and I'm just looking at the bigger picture. So that means that the city council members don't need to attend the emergency office
Center.
committee.
The EOC meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just a suggestion, but
Right.
but yeah, but you're saying that it might be a Brown Act violation.
Well, I beg to differ. I don't think there's any daisy chains going on. So so I just want to look at the agenda. So the role of the subcommittee during COVID-19. So we do have the EOC meeting every other Friday that is specific for COVID-19. And so for this discussion item here, I guess we're tonight, putting the role of this subcommittee is everything else, the general partnership between the school district and the city. So I don't see where we need to discuss further. I think that's been clear then if the two separate meetings, one being a subcommittee, the other being really EOC joint with our city and school district. Maybe I'll look to our staff. Was there a particular concern with this item that needed to be discussed?
No, I think, Mayor, that's helpful. We really wanted to talk about the role, so that what we'll do is for the other group, we kind of focus on the COVID items, and then here, at this subcommittee, we would bring other items forward, just so we're not discussing the same items with
Right.
Okay.
Thank you for that. It helps me out a whole lot to listen. So thank you so much. Okay, great. So I want to move on to discussion item 3. If there's no one else that wanted to comment, so we'll respectfully move to item number 3. And anytime anybody wants to participate, please help me out with the virtual raised hand. It's hard. You got so many great folks here. And so next up here, it's emergency preparedness. And we got a couple things under emergency preparedness. I will look to our Director of Recreation Services, Renee.
Yes. So as you all know, we are going through, continue to go through COVID, and then recently with the fires. So we thought we would add emergency preparedness to the discussion list. So continuity and collaboration of services, I think with COVID, it's been going well. And then for care and shelter, we have our shelter at the sports center with the cache, and then we do have another site which is actually at the Milpitas High School gym, and there's a cache, a smaller cache over there as well. So just wanted to check in just with the school district. I know there's some bond projects going on over at the high school, and that the gym work, if that would interrupt, or that would be a construction zone, and so if those dates could be shared with us, then we know when that might be offline if another emergency comes up.
And so we'll look to Cheryl for
That the large gym won't be, we've done this summer what we're doing to it: new roof, new scoreboard, new speaker system. What we're building is a smaller gym, and it's on the other side
Okay.
where the old pool used to be.
Okay. I know where that is. Okay. All right. Will any of that construction over at the small gym, will that take any entrances out to the large gym itself?
It shouldn't, because
Okay.
when we planned it, it was with kids still here, and we still need that large gym.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Great. That just helps us with planning when we have more than one incident going on at one time, like we experienced a couple weeks ago. So thank you. So if that's all from my aspect, unless anyone else has anything on that topic.
Okay, great. Topic for 3, emergency preparedness.
So I had one more
Okay. Yes,
on that.
for Montana.
So thank you, Mayor Trans. I recall we used to use the sports center as cooling and warming shelters. Is that still going on?
Yes.
Okay.
The sports center was actually a cooling center all this week for the heat, but also if anyone needed respite from the smoky air quality. So that was open every day this week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And that is our shelter as well. So that's equipped to handle incidents where we need to shelter people overnight.
And can you remind me how we let the public know that these are open to them?
So, excuse me, we coordinate with the county. So they have their system where they put press releases out and information to to the media. And then we put that information out on our social media pages, on our city's homepage and websites. And the senior center is still open. It's serving lunch every day. And so we share that information with the seniors that come in at that site as well.
Okay, can you make it I'm making a recommendation. You know how we have our new, and thank you, Steve, for fixing that, the digital.
Yes. Electronic sign,
electronic
yes,
billboard.
yeah.
You know, if you can add that on there, and so that way people can know that when the warming or cooling shelters are open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we'll move to the next discussion item. If I don't see any further virtual raised hands, I want to thank everybody for assisting me with that as we try to move this agenda forward here. Next up, for city MUSD partnership opportunities in the next 12 months. I want to go to Cheryl to see what type of opportunities that we can be blessed to share.
Sure. Shorty and I connected a couple of weeks ago on one, which is we have a need for serving our team members, both city side as well as school district, and essential worker parents in developing learning pods or childcare. And so Ashwini said that once I get the numbers to her, then she can look into having possibly after the bell moved to during the day, during the school day, to help us support that. And we would provide the space at our school district, our different schools. And then after the bell would take care of the staffing and any fees that need to happen on a sliding scale. So that's one big collaboration. And Ashwini, you want to talk about the library one?
The grant, sure. So we also are working with the school district. We already worked on one grant, IMLS grant for digital literacy, and then are working with the school district as well as the county library on another grant. Our grant writer is helping kind of working with the team and helping write the application. And again, the intent is digital literacy within communities. So looking at digital inclusion and literacy grants. And we will be looking at kind of different ways to do it. Renee, I know your staff has been quite involved as well on this one. If you wanted to add anything, we had started to look at kind of different look at youth and seniors and businesses. I think we're focusing more on the youth, but go ahead and add to that, Renee. If you want to.
Yeah, it's a exciting project proposal. It would be a pilot that we would implement in Milpitas in collaboration with the 3 organizations. And it would focus on getting our community members digitally literate, both youth and parents, so that they are connected, they are able to navigate and learn and manage their households and stay on track of what's current, where right now they can't. They don't have the resources because they're not educated in how to use digital resources, or they don't have access to the equipment or to Wi-Fi services. So we're going to be developing a program where students and adults would be able to get trained, be given equipment, and then at the end of the program, then be interviewed and see how their literacy has improved to see if it was a successful program or not. And part of the grant is to create a program that can then be modeled in other communities.
And another part too would be including our Milpitas Adult Ed, so they could be one of the facilitators of the digital literacy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really, really good proposal.
This is great news to hear. And I want to thank our superintendent and our assistant city manager and our director of recreation for just all the teamwork and collaboration. And Councilor Montano, I see your virtual raised hand.
Thank you. I have just one question for Ashwini. Ashwini, is this for, or actually Renee, is this program so parents can become computer literate to help their children, or is it an addition? Is it to supplement?
That's a great question. One of the discussions we had was about parents in Milpitas who are trying to stay on top of be distance learning right now, and to help their children through this different education experience year. And if they're not enough to help their children, then the gap needs to be filled with other resources. So that was one big discussion that we had as a good point of trying to fill that gap, so that they're able to go into the ARIES portal, that they know what the ARIES portal is, that they know how to figure out when their child is, virtually ditching class, or if they have how to help them get their work done and create those assignments and all that goes into being a help during this time. And then in the future,
And a key part.
just being one of the discussion points. Yeah.
What was that? I didn't hear that.
No, Councilmember Montano just wanted to add, obviously, a key partner to this and who'll be the lead is the county library. So it's also kind of where they see the need, and that's why they're excited to kind of partner on this, and then hoping to kind of use that to scale up in other places as well.
Okay, great. I know this was discussed at our other meeting, the COVID meeting, regarding internet services, internet access to students, because some students don't have it. And you were going to look into that. Is this the time and place to talk about this, or at the other meeting?
Specifically for students, I will defer to Superintendent Jordan. And then we can talk about the other.
Yeah, I think that's at the EOC.
You're talking about to talk about that at that EOC meeting?
Right, that's COVID related, yeah. Okay. And so by next Friday, and I'm sure you can connect with Cheryl and our officials at any time for details, but we want to recognize that space for the ELC meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep, I'm with you. Yep. And so, okay, any further virtual raised hands? Okay. I just want to.
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, is there? I'm not looking. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. Oh, here's the question. I'm gonna go ahead and read it. Do you know if any from our president? You could. Do you know if the evacuees need lunch or dinner donated to them? Where and how many? I only focus on Milpitas for now. So yeah. So in terms of the wildfire evacuees throughout our region that have come into our Santa Clara Valley, it's been really special to see folks coming together to support them. In Milpitas, I'm not sure if folks have come this way. I actually know some evacuees from my time in the National Guard, residents of Ben Lomond and up in the hills there. They've gone to Morgan Hill and Sunnyvale. I haven't heard of anybody. It's just my experience, evacuees coming to Milpitas for our hotels. I saw a post from our city government. There's so much information coming out all the time. City of Milpitas. I try to keep up. I tell you what, there's so much production, outcomes and output. It's amazing. But I read a post that our city hotels made themselves available for folks, evacuees, but that wasn't totally taken upon by folks. And so that's news that's worth discussing. But in terms of lunch or dinner, I would say for all of us, if we're looking to support folks with basic necessity of food, reach out to anybody. Got any ideas? I want the American Red Cross. We do have an evacuation center here in town, and I know they're open still. I hope they're open still, but we can go there. Maybe there's vouchers and donate to them, and they can do the vouchers for the food. Renee, I saw you.
Yeah, I will post in the chat a link to where Santa Clara County and Red Cross are asking for donations. So I'll put that in the chat box right now. And the evacuation center, it was open. It was a 24/7 operation. They are not open that often. I think they're regular business hours at this point. I'll double check and then I can email the group. But if somebody was to go to the Evacuation Resource Center, they were able to receive vouchers for both hotel and food for about a week. So they were pretty quick to react, and community partners on board to help feed and house people that were evacuated in the county. But I'll put the link in the chat box for everybody to take a look.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question? Renee?
Yes.
The food pantry, is that open now with COVID? Is that open extra hours, or is it still the same hours?
They are open. Oh gosh, you caught me off guard, council member. They are open right now. I'll double check on the hours. I think they were open regular hours. So they are closed a little bit on Thursdays and Sundays. So I can send that information out. I have not heard from Karen Colander that they expanded hours for COVID.
Okay.
But
Okay, that'd be good to know.
Montano just wanted to mention also that we're still partnering with Second Harvest and Food
Okay,
Pantry
good.
every other week, and also with MUSD, right, to do the week.
Right, I saw that. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic and wonderful. Yeah, Councilor Montano, your daughter, your adult daughter's out there volunteering. So
Yeah, yeah, she tells me that I'm glad that she's doing that.
yeah,
Because I get busy.
that's no excuse. You need to be out there too. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, I hear you. I'll make it a
Okay.
point to be out there.
All right. Don't worry. I gotta cut back on the jokes here. Next up on the agenda, if I may, community-based organization meeting on September the 9th. Can I look for someone to take it away with that?
President, again?
Yes, I tell Mayor to call on you for the community based.
So we are going to be doing a series of conversations, and this first one we're very excited about. It's involving community-based organizations so that they get a chance to hear what we've done with COVID-19 and the impact of COVID-19 as far as what the needs are and how we might be able to partner with them. And our school leaders, as well as some of those leaders who are overseeing certain aspects of student life, will be available and do sort of like Vice President Norwood, do you want to describe the speed dating aspect?
For our families and students in the school district that have communications with certain staff members about needs. And we have community-based organizations that have reached out to us during COVID-19 to talk about how they could partner or how they could serve. Some nonprofits, some churches, some of the service organizations. So on September 9th, we are hosting the community-based organization meeting where those organizations can come, as Superintendent Jordan had referred to, can hear about what we have done, and then also meet some of the leaders in the district who have families that are in need. And then they can build relationships in that way and move forward in terms of being able to serve the families as expeditiously as possible in a number of different ways based on the demand.
Fantastic. That's exciting to hear, and I'll certainly have to mark my calendar. Next up with the virtual raised hand, Councilmember Montano.
I just want to thank the school district for putting this on. I think thanks for spearheading this. I think it's way overdue. There are many agencies, and we even have a nonprofit center over there by Abbott, and what's it called? I can't remember the name of the
Sobrato. Yeah.
Sobrato. There you go. Thank you, Mayor. The Sobrato Center, and they have a lot of nonprofit organizations that are based there. We also have the Milpitas Assistance Program. We have the Housing Subcommittee with the Rent Relief Program, and this is really good. I'm really glad you're doing this so we can network and share resources for people that need help. So kudos to you guys for doing this. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our leaders at the school district, Chris Norwood. Okay, great. Thank you for that. And next up on the agenda, future agenda items. This is always an exciting one. Are there any future agenda items? I look to our school board president or vice president, Cheryl, Superintendent Jordan. If there's none, virtual raised hands, I will.
So I have
Yes.
one. So our discussion on the fields, that will come back at our next meeting, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
No, it will come back once we have a specific field to propose to you.
All right.
It
Or
may not
even-
be the next.
And all the brainstorming ideas. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hon.
And so I'm here for that. Anything I can do to support that cause with brainstorming any great location on behalf of the school district. I'm here to support that, and hopefully we can do it in a timely way so that it would kind of relieve us all of the decision-making process. Okay, great. So it looks like we've come to the end of our agenda. I want to thank everybody for the very solid and strong. Let me pause myself there. I see a virtual raised hand. Ashwini, our Assistant City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Tran. Just wanted to get some clarification. So should we bring some discussion about interim ideas? Because I know the school district is looking at a construction start fairly soon. And as that plays out, should we still agendize interim ideas or just wait till you have a chance to look at the longer term plan?
Cheryl, did you?
You're on mute.
Mute, Cheryl.
I think that once we look at different options, then we would be able to talk about interim.
Okay, so we'll wait to hear back. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I know it's a tough one, and we're really counting on our school district here, along with ourselves equally, so that we can come up with the solution. It's a heavy conversation in the community over many years. So I pause myself. I want to go to our Director of Recreation Services, Renee.
Yeah, just the link is in chat, as well as the current Milpitas pantry hours, and they are the same Monday through Thursday, and then they open again Thursday evenings.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's in the chat box.
Awesome. We love to answer questions and come up with solutions. And so, yeah, before we adjourn, I just want to thank everybody. It really means a lot to me. I'm at a point in my life now where I'm really thinking about the past and the present and what that means for the future. And just knowing that our city school district partnership now is as strong as it's ever been in decades, I think, if I may say, to know that our colleagues and partners at the school district, you all can call us at the city and count on us at any time. And I've heard that throughout this meeting this afternoon, where someone could pick up the phone from the school district and call the city manager's office and just be received with and our recreation services department as well, and just be received wholeheartedly and with good faith and true partnership. That means a lot to me, because there's a time where I don't think that may have been the case, and a lot of folks in Milpitas have worked really hard, including myself, to ensure this partnership is optimal and is best, and is just really the best. And it means a lot to be here on the Zoom. It's good to be back. I've been kind of off my axles with everything, as we all have really been shaken by all the just undescribable events that have occurred this year. And so this meeting has been really great for me to have my wheels under me, and it helps me knowing that we have a really a round table here for us to go towards the same goal of our MUSD and Milpitas families. So
Yeah, I feel that we've always had a partnership, but I do feel that it has become stronger. And I mean, even the fact that we did the graduation at, putting the students' names out at City Hall, and you know, those little things, they make a big difference. So we have gotten stronger, our partnership. So just want to throw that out there. So thanks to the leadership of the school district and you, Mayor.
Yeah, it takes everybody, and so I want to adjourn the meeting kind of on that note of positivity, and I look forward to meeting again soon. Everybody, please have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Maybe I might see some of y'all over the weekend. Who knows? Okay, take care, everybody.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.